I think we came to Faith Church when I was like 6. First time I'd ever been to church, so everybody just seemed like happy, and they cared about each other, and you just feel the love at this church. Even as a child, I remember that. I know as a kid, I always, for some reason, just felt not good enough, maybe not smart enough, not pretty enough, just not enough. So I just tried to basically get in where you fit in. I just felt like I fit in with not the crowd that was doing right, and I don't know where that came from, but that was early on for me. I remember being young and just wanting to be grown. I just thought I could do things on my own and be grown. So I made some really bad choices. Anything that my parents told me not to do, I wanted to do. I think marijuana, and then alcohol was a big one, and then it escalated to methamphetamine. It made me feel like I could do more things, and I was sharper, everything, and I didn't feel like I was hurting anybody. I didn't feel like anybody knew, and it just escalated for so long. I think it was 2001. All this fear came up in me. It was after like 9/11. I remember wanting to pray and wanting to change, and Satan already came in and was lying to me and told me I couldn't, be this person that I would have to be a Christian. And immediately, I just wanted to hold on to part of my life and give him some of it, and you can't do that. Steve and I got in some trouble, and he got in trouble actually, and it seems like I got worse after that with my addiction, and just, I don't know what happened. It kind of spiraled. And he was already in jail, and so I was facing going to jail, and then my kids would definitely know what was going on, and I cried out to God. I just asked for his help. Right away, I got into drug court and went into rehab. And I remember being in rehab on a Friday night women's meeting, and just, I felt broken, and I needed help, and I didn't know how to live life and be sober. And these women, they were, I could hear myself in their stories and in that book they was reading, and this was all in the first night. And I just asked for help, and by the time I got back to treatment that night, one of the women in the meeting called and asked me if I wanted to go to the retreat, because they were having a retreat and that they would pay for it. And I asked drug court, and they usually don't let you do things like that, but they let me go. And that's where I surrendered to God with my addiction. I just begged him to take it from me, because the obsession to use and drink was really strong. That's all I had ever known. So that weekend he took it. I didn't ever have a desire to pick up methamphetamine ever again. So God started working even then, before I all the way surrendered to him. So it's good. It's real good. While I was in treatment, Steve, his mom, and my kids, they all came to church Easter Sunday, so God was already working and I didn't know it. So drug court for me was one of the best things that happened to me. You could just tell that they knew where we were coming from, and they loved us, and I didn't feel so ashamed. I realized I just wanted to be sober, and so I did what they told me. I think I was sober 3 years, kind of like all the other times in my life. Before I would use, I wasn't going to meetings, I was working all the time, and kind of got complacent, and so I drank on 2 different occasions. And the last time that I actually drank, and nobody knew about it, just me and Steve, and I was like, I can't do this, because if I do this, I'm going to go back. I think it was back to church Sunday. When I came back to church, immediately I just felt God tugging on my heart, and this time I wasn't going to ignore it. And I think right away God sent Brandy, and we were in meetings together. And God is just so awesome how he works. And throughout my life, I've seen him. He says, "Be still and know that I am God." And when I was still, I could see all the times that he chased me. And he never gave up on me. So New Life is our recovery group. When I think of what's going on there, I have to realize that God's working behind those scenes too, and the people that's came, and it's Him that's doing the work, and we're just here, and we get to watch what He's going to do. Another cool thing that's happened to me in sobriety is I got to speak for drug court after I graduated, and they had expunged other people's records, and I hadn't gotten mine yet, and I had asked the prosecutor, and she said to call me. So I called her. It was a while later, and she's like, well, no, they didn't expunge it, but I mean, we're going to work on it, and we're going to get it taken care of, and I have. It's like what God says He does for our sin, it's gone. It's like it was never there. Through this journey of my sobriety and walking with Christ, so much life has happened. My daughter had a baby. She's about to turn 7 years old. I've got 9 grandkids. None of them have ever seen me under the influence of alcohol or drugs. My daughter's about to get married. My parents, they come to church now. They're the ones that first brought me here. And God's working in their life. My mom just got baptized last year. My dad is strong in the church. I've got a strong relationship with my husband. He's sober. Life is so good. I just can't even tell you all the blessings. It would take too long. I get to make a living amends with my children. I've got to show them that you can get sober and you can live for Christ. And I know that my children and my husband, that God is chasing them like He chased me. And He says, all things work for the good of those who love me and are called to my purpose. So I just know that I don't even know how to explain the goodness that it's been.